is time for Toriko. It is back after a 1 week break, but
It says this. Next issue, a color cover and a double chapter.
okay.
That's what the wording is.
Okay, well anyway, Toriko chapter something something something. I think it's 321, right? I
I
don't
thought
know.
it was 320.
320. Okay. Yeah.
That's just double check. Just double check because this is we don't have our fan base raging it out in the comments that we messed up.
Yeah. But anyway, what fan base?
I don't know. Maybe we might get some more thanks to your Shigeki no Soma episode reviews.
Maybe. Speaking of Shokugeki no Soma, JC staff, they need to license Toriko and do a crossover between Shokugeki no Soma and Toriko.
JC staff? Who the hell is JC? Are they the guys who are doing Shigeki no Soma?
Yep. And the animation is beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable.
Are there any other notable works by that company?
There are, I just don't remember which ones they are. I looked it up a long time ago. But as I know from rumor, they hate filler, so.
Meaning if they had the option to either, when they get to that point where they're like, are we going to take a break from making the anime so it doesn't catch up or make filler, they'd go for, let's take a break?
Yeah, probably.
Which I wouldn't really mind.
Me neither.
Too much, as long as it's guaranteed to come back.
Mm-hmm.
See, One Piece, like animes, I would love, like when animes, when a manga is, when they decide, oh, we're going to make an anime out of this manga, it would be great if they waited, like, till it was either almost over, or depending on, of course, the length of the manga itself.
Mm-hmm.
And, for things like Naruto and One Piece and Bleach, they are long running, so it's obviously they weren't going to wait until it was over.
Yeah.
However, like, say, imagine if the One Piece anime started when they were in the Whitebeard War in the manga. Imagine the pacing they would have had then in the anime.
Yeah. But anyway, for this chapter of Toriko, we got a lot of exposition as well as some more weirdness, but
and some more reveals.
That's how Mitsutoshi likes it. So.
Well, he was giving all his females fan service this entire arc in a weird way, so he decided that he wanted to give the guys some fan service.
Mm-hmm.
Also in a very weird way.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's, his excuse. I guess that's him making up for not having a female in the group to give fan service on a regular basis.
Right. But yeah, so this chapter, like...
Unless you count Sunny.
In the beginning, there was, he, spit out Toriko's arm, which is pretty funny.
I forgot that he had Toriko's arm.
So did I.
I was literally thinking, oh, he's going to drink pear and it's going to just regenerate.
Yeah. It was, it regrew thanks to him eating pear, just like a droplet.
No, he didn't even have pear yet. It was before they even tasted pear.
Oh, yeah, it was,
Just from the smell.
The smell and the sound and shit.
And activated his, and the fact that he, combined with the fact that he learned Embu, allowed for when they put, because Komatsu had to use dark art to reattach it.
Completely, yeah.
To combined with the cell, it was a combination. It wasn't like...
Yeah.
But I think if he would have drank pear first, he probably would have regenerated.
Probably.
So... And then we got, they try to collect the soup that is pear, and it's slower than molasses.
Slower than Bleach's progression. Shots fired.
No. It is... You would have an easier time waiting for pear to drip down than it would be waiting for hiatus, hiatus to come back.
Or for Berserk to ever update. Oh my gosh. I feel bad for that fan base too, but
anyway, the point is that it was going to take an insane amount of time, and in fact, it was stated that it would take about 200 million years if they were to just let it drip.
Yeah.
For there to be enough for everyone there to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mainly because it would have been like maybe a little over 100 million if there wasn't so many huge monkeys who would have wanted more. Now, then we get the confirmation that this is the real Kaka.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know exactly what the situation is yet, because Toriko was like, bitch, we want the food first. Food first, info later. So then, she also reveals how that she was the one talking to Komatsu in the spirit, the afterlife, which is now been confirmed to be is the true nature of the back channel.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and he's like, oh, well, I told him how to capture pear, and now I'll tell you how to properly prepare it. And goes into this, like, ridiculous, like I thought, the friggin', power up, Gohan's power up ceremony in part 3 of DBZ was stupid, like, and unnecessarily complicated and stupid. Like standing for 5 hours while the old Kai walks around him, and then sits for like 24 hours while the old Kai holds his hands up in front of him. Like, I thought that was stupid. No. This even surpasses that. Like, you gotta start around a bowl for a couple hours, then let it dry out, then stare at it for a whole day, and then like stew it and like, really? I was like, really? They gonna have, like, is that gonna be some type of, like, they said it would take up to a month, and I'm like, really? Are they gonna really just like, sit there for a month trying to get it ready before tasting it?
Right.
And then Kamatsu's like, there's a hole there, and everyone's like, no, there's no hole there. And then he's like, shing, like cuts it slightly, and then it's like, oh my god, then the nut just busted its load.
Yep.
Which,
plenty of imagery there.
Yeah. He touched the ball's G spot.
Yeah, and it
exploded. There's no other word for it. It just exploded.
Took no time at all to climax, and just bam, done.
Instant climax.
Fuck. Instant pleasure.
That's why I said the G spot.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so, and if you think that's lewd, then if you think me calling it the G spot is lewd, then you must not have actually been reading this arc.
Yeah, what we're saying is relatively tame
compared
to what has
everything
happened
else
in Toriko in this arc alone.
In fact, there hasn't been any other arc all the other arcs. The only thing bad about the only thing non-child friendly about it was all the blood and violence. This one had the blood, had the violence, and all the sexual innuendos, which isn't usually what happens in Toriko.
Right.
But it's a gourmet world. Shit happens.
Yeah.
Literally. In the case of Bambina's shit.
Yes, literal shit happens. That was so disgusting.
But anyway, let's move on that.
Yeah.
So, it's official. Drinking pear got them the other arm of the gourmet demon. Now, before we get on to the other stuff that pear did to them, my question is that if it's, Komatsu really does have a gourmet demon in him, how come he hasn't unlocked parts of it like the others, Toriko and the others?
Yeah.
Because he's also had 2, of Akasha's full courses.
I'm guessing he's just not developed enough yet.
Yeah, maybe Komatsu will probably, like, unlock it all at once.
Maybe.
I don't know. or maybe in the next one. Who knows? You know, because technically nobody else, only us as readers even know that it exists. Because it's presumed, no, it doesn't seem like anybody else knew that Komatsu has a gourmet demon. Not even Komatsu.
Right.
Because like he in that whole thing with Air, when he used his gourmet demon, it was like he like almost he basically blacked out as his gourmet demon took over.
Mm-hmm.
So and just when you thought it was safe to read Toriko again, Pear happened.
Yes.
And like Kamatsu's drinking and he's like, yeah, this is awesome. And you're just, in the usual Toriko way, he's talking about how he's describing how good it tastes and how like his body just feels different after eating this ingredient because it's such a high quality ingredient. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to be the same ever again after this.
Mm-hmm.
Which is always the case when he eats these ingredients because his gourmet cells level up.
Of course.
But then they're like, oh my, but then, if you were like, if you, like, say for instance, someone were to post each of these panels up on, like, say the internet, and you were like, and in order to read it, you had to read, like, look, like, instead of like the entire pages, you had to like, each page on the website was a different panel,
Mm-hmm.
and you wouldn't be able to see what was going on in the next panels. You had to actually like click on the button to change the page in order to read the next panel.
Mm-hmm.
And you read that whole thing about like Toriko saying like, oh, it feels like I'm becoming a different person. You would have been like, well, that's not any different than anything else that's happened in Toriko. They always feel like they're becoming a completely new person after every time.
Yeah.
Basic. But unfortunately, no. As soon as you get to the next panel, you freaking see Komatsu. Like you go see Komatsu drinking. He's like, oh, cool. Komatsu's also enjoying it. And then you're like, wait, what? Komatsu has boobs? What the hell? They weren't there before, were they? And lo and behold, the it after drinking a certain amount of it, you turn into a woman, or your gender changes, and you have to drink more to change back.
Uh-huh.
So now that the Toriko has been given a device that allows for gender change in the series. Here come the, gender swapped character fan art all over the internet.
Oh yeah.
Because the same thing happened in One Piece after Ivanko appeared. Like
Yeah.
there's always usually like those kind of things out there from when especially when the series become popular. People do that shit because they're weird.
Mm-hmm.
But like once something in the story happens, where a plot device is introduced where it's possible for the characters to change genders in the series, then it just ramps up. Like it even got to the point where, like in One Piece's case, where Oda actually released official sketches of what they would have looked like.
Oh yeah.
They weren't like fully colored, like they were like pencil drawings.
Mm-hmm.
And and for the most part, I think they were just mainly focused from like the top up. It's not important. Anyway, that's not important. The important fact is that now you're gonna have all those weirdos doing it for Toriko. Because now they're like, oh, well, this is what, Pear would have done to Chief Mansum and
Oh
friggin'
God.
Midora, and
Ichiryu and
and people doing their fan art of what female Zebra would look like, because guess what? We don't get to see it.
thank
Which is a
God.
smart move. Smart move.
Would have been so damn ugly.
Oh my god. With all those scars and that face. I mean, I guess he couldn't avoid showing Zebra doing all the funny poses, but I guess he was like, okay, I'm gonna draw the line at because seeing Zebra doing all those funny poses for the dance with Bambina was degrading to his character enough. Like, you would never think in a million years that Zebra's character would do that kind of stuff. So it was already degrading enough for him. He wasn't going to knock Zebra's character down even further by showing him in this state.
Yeah. Do it
In
for the
this
food.
chapter. In this chapter. we don't know what the hell we're going to see in the next chapter.
Oh boy.
Which is why I'm still believing that we might see female zebra next week.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he's weird like that. He's weird like that.
Yeah.
Now, so that whole thing about the coin with two sides basically deals with two things that are basically the same. The two sides. It's basically explained. It basically takes various aspects of life and death that are basically two sides to the same coin, and they flip flop them as you drink pair.
Mm-hmm.
One being gender, the other one life and death. I'm sure we might hear about other ones as well. So now, so now we can see, now that they have drunk pair, they can see into the back channel, and which is also where all dead souls reside.
Right.
Which brings up some very interesting plot points. Because, guess what? If they can now communicate with the dead, guess who can come back into the plot?
Yep.
Ichiru!
Yeah, boy.
And pretty much anybody else who's important who's died.
Yeah, basically.
Like Guimo, who's there.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it is kind of interesting, but we'll see
which
how it
begs
actually plays out.
Uh-huh. So, if pair is what Toriko and the gang needed to gain access to the back channels, how is anybody else to do it if they don't drink pair?
Right, how did Tepe get there? That's the big question right now.
I'm sure there's another way.
Oh yeah.
Because as we know in Toriko, there's the normal way that everyone does it, and then there's the food luck way, which is in in the gang's case is the original way, which is by ingesting pear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure before the Blue Nitro, the Blue Nitro had no idea about, the whole little hole thing in pear, pear's G spot. So it's possible that in times before that pear, was prepared that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this whole thing about life and death, I'm kind of want to see Bambina's backstory now, because if his nuts, like, his would allow people, like, I'm guessing that. So then that, I guess, explains how he was able to see his girlfriend who died. Like, I want to know how she died.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, that's why he's only able to see her when pear is fully ripened.
I wonder if she didn't die, but ate his nuts, which is very, very likely, and then never found a way to come back.
Or she ate it all, and the last drop she had, because it was because it switches between life and death. The last drop, she died, and there wasn't any left for her to come back with, drink and come back to life with.
That's what I'm saying.
So who knows? Because she took in the whole load all by herself.
Yeah.
So, and if she's the same species as Bambina, which it's presumed based on her design, does that mean that there used to be an entire race of them, like an entire, was it like a mass species,
Presumably.
and then just eventually they died off?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely interesting to see. Because same thing comes up with should come to your mind when you think about Heracles. Somebody had to knock her up. So I want to see the male Heracles that knocked the king up. Unless it's another one of those weird things where it's like, oh, well, reproduced asexually.
Mm-hmm.
which is more likely the case because it's weirder that way.
Yeah.
And we know he loves weird. Mitsutoshi and his weirdness.
Yeah.
So until next week, we'll have to wait till next week to find out what else Pear will do for them, and why the Kaka's dead, or at least currently hiding out in the back channel. And what was the whole thing about the fake Kaka?
Yeah, if it was even fake to begin with, we'll see.
There could be a multitude of things.
Yeah.
It's possible that, well, no, because it was presumed that Kaka, because if I remember correctly, because Kaka died, like if the fake, quote unquote, fake Kaka died not too long before they completed the capture of Pear. So it didn't seem like there would be enough time, like, say for instance, oh well, this Kaka was influenced by evil and turned evil or something. Because remember, the two Kakas had separate. One had a vertical mouth, one had a horizontal mouth. So it's so. The fake one was obviously banking on the fact that he would think that they would have heard of Kaka and would know to trust him, Kaka. Because he knows about Chi-Chi. And probably knew that they would have spoken to Chi-Chi before coming to the gourmet world.
Right.
So that's probably why he impersonated Chi-Chi. Now, why Chi-Chi, or not Chi-Chi, Kaka? So, but now the remaining question is why... What happened to why is the real Kaka currently in the back channel? Is she dead, or is she just hiding there, or whatever? So, and like I said, we need that and whatever else Pear does for them is what we're gonna really find out about in the next chapter.
Yep.
Because we got a little bit else like saying that Pear seemingly enhances their five senses as well. But that usually also seems the case for most ingredients. When there's gourmet cells level up, they always have an increase in all their senses.
Right.
So that's nothing too special. But we need to know what else, because when they had air, it not only gave them the one arm of their gourmet demon, but it allowed that it affected their body, so that way their skin could respirate and they could heal faster. And they could go with a long periods of time without oxygen. So that's why it has to be that's why I feel like there's still more that we're going to find out.
Of course.
He just wanted to do the shock value of the whole gender change thing. And the ridiculousness of the Flavor Sage's mainstream way of preparing Pear.
Yeah.
So, and of course, the big reveal of them being able to now use the back channel as a result of this, or seemingly, because they didn't say they could use it. They just said in this chapter that they are now able to see it.
Yeah.
So it's presumably that now that they can see it, they'll be able to use it.
Yeah, they should. We'll see.
So
I mean, this chapter, I would say, is pretty good.
I liked it.
Yeah, same.
Despite the weirdness.
Yeah, there was good exposition, decent progression, I guess.
And we learned a lot of a lot of important details.
Yeah, which is what I mean by exposition.
Yeah, whatever. So
yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get more next week.